The area is very conservative, cow-calf country. Raise your family, go about your business, get up in the morning. We didn't need government in our lives. She was supposed to be over on my neighbor's, which was about a mile to the east. She said, Fish and Wildlife Service has been petitioned to list the mountain plover. And so the next words just changed my life. She said, Mr. Davis, they're everywhere. You have mountain plovers everywhere. And you lay awake at night wondering, at the end of the day, what is the impact going to be?
The Environmental Protection Agency, we're doing an assessment to consider listing the watershed as what they called, in quotes, sediment impaired. So too much sediment impacts the native fisheries for trout, steelhead, and baby salmon. We as a family, multi-generationally, need to make a living here. This landscape needs to work for us.
We are about 350 miles north of San Francisco, right on the coast. One big issue that we have here is the Aleutian cackling geese. They're here for about 3 months out of the year when they really impact us hard. The Aleutian geese are grazers, and they like to follow the cattle. At times we've had 40,000 of them.
I'm a tree farmer. I've been planting trees for 44 years. I'm a 6th generation Georgian. We have an indigo snake, which is a federally listed protected species. The gopher tortoise is a candidate for listing as a threatened species due to loss of habitat.
We have the same species today that were here 200 plus years ago. Whether it's grizzly bears, wolves, lynx, to mountain lions, this is something we all deal with on a daily basis here.
You know, we're all doing the same thing. We have different problems. Different communities have different problems, but we're all doing the same thing. We're trying to keep it together. We were always afraid that anytime the government got involved with anything we did on the ranch, that it was going to be, you know, costly to us in some way. You know, and you get very protective of your ranch because this business is not a moneymaker. This is a love. You love the land, you get to use the land, and that's great. We're all just stewards of what we have here.
I mean, you take care of your places, or at the end of the day, you don't have a ranch. You know, Dad had raised us boys to embrace our challenges, to address them, not to run from them. And at the end of the day, we were sitting at my kitchen table, and it was probably one of the best days looking back on as far as education and helped me to understand. The reason the birds are here is because it is ideal habitat for the birds, because it is short grass country and they like the bare ground. It was just something that became very passionate for me that we could go down this road.
There's a saying I love, you can either be at the table or on the menu, and we chose to be at the table, and I think we were able to positively affect the outcome of the regulatory action.
One of the things that has come from all this is that I have realized how important landowner-led conversations are. We can work with species on a voluntary basis. We need to have the ability to arm ourselves with the best information available. We need to understand our landscape, we need to do the research, and we need to build the relationships with these agencies and to be able to address this, and not only from a species point of view, but also a family that's trying to make a living off the land and help them traverse the landmines and to do good things in the backyard when it comes to dealing with threatened species. So Partners for Conservation was born.
Here in this particular country, we have a lot of springs, and there are 4 on this farm. We go out of our way to have clean water. We have all these projects for clean water, for riparian buffers, for tree plantings, and all of that in order to keep clean water. So I'm a believer now in putting landowners together with the different governmental agencies that have programs that would benefit the farmer or rancher. But we open up those lines of communication that wouldn't exist if we didn't have PFC in many ways. Because that stream is fenced and my neighbor upstream is fenced, all that water goes down until it hits the Potomac River at Harper's Ferry and goes right on down, and the folks in Washington, D.C. are drinking my water free of charge.
In this arid part of the country, water conservation is a high priority. We have 10 miles of Ute Creek flowing through the ranch, and it was completely infested with salt cedar. And of course, there was no water in the creek. And we formed partnerships with a number of agencies and nonprofits, and now we have water running year-round in Ute Creek. We have beautiful wildlife through there. Birds abound, insects, aquatic life is healthy and abundant. We have become a model of riparian restoration in this region. And we could not have done on the land what we've done without those important relationships. And with all the work we've done here on the ranch with conservation, we've worked with partners. You know, one of the things I've so enjoyed about Partners for Conservation is the value that we place on partnerships and relationships.
You know, it was really about communication, and not all the time did we as ranchers or agencies work together. And you know, that's something we're very proud of, is that we've been able to figure out a way that we can still ranch and raise cows and still really work within all the wildlife species, and we all get along.
The gopher tortoise is one of our primary species. In the Fish and Wildlife, they're encouraging habitat preservation, habitat enhancement through various programs, through the NRCS and other programs. They encourage landowners to burn, and if it hasn't been burned, then it's full of bushes that shade out the native smorgasbord for him. So he needs fire, and since he's the keystone species providing home, a burrow, to some 300 other species of animals, he's critical. So having fire helps his habitat, which has a ripple effect to other species. I'm at peace with our sensitive species, and I recognize that they are part of the larger system. We can continue to do logging and burning alongside the sensitive species, and I couldn't be the good steward of the land that I strive to be without the help of many different individuals, agencies, and organizations.
We've been able to sit down at the table and communicate about a way to get this stuff done for the wildlife and still able to keep running our operation.
We're here to help, and we're so willing to go to Washington, D.C. and talk to people who are making laws. We have credibility, and we're the people who are on the land and actually, you know, the people who know about it. And we're straight shooters, we're straight talkers. That's how you get things done.
We do have a voice with the Fish and Wildlife now. We do have a voice with the USDA. I think it's not it's not something that's going to be here and gone tomorrow. This thing's going to last.
And they've earned the respect of the Fish and Wildlife Service, NRCS, and they've reached critical mass, and it's a privilege to be associated with them.
There are times if you just stop in the middle of the pasture and turn the pickup off, and the prairies just come alive. And so, yes, there is hope. You know, I'm excited to be a part of that journey and Partners for Conservation.